She's married, I'm her lover, and her husband said make yourselves at home. The door clicked shut behind us like a guilty whisper, and there he was, her husband, tall and broad-shouldered in that rumpled Oxford shirt, arms crossed over his chest as if guarding the invisible line between welcome and warning. Make yourselves at home, he said, his voice flat as the gray Seattle rain pattering against the panes, eyes flicking from me to Elena like he was sizing up a storm cloud. I froze, my hand still tangled in hers, the heat of her palm searing through me, while the air thickened with the sharp tang of his aftershave and the faint, bitter drip of the coffee maker in the corner. Elena's breath hitched. A soft, ragged sigh that twisted my gut, because we both knew this wasn't hospitality. It was a dare. A detonation waiting for the spark. I'd loved her for 2 years in stolen fragments, hurried kisses in the shadowed aisles of Pike Place Market, her laughter muffled against my neck during midnight drives along the waterfront, the way her fingers traced lazy circles on my thigh under diner tables while her wedding ring glinted like a taunt in the neon glow. She was Elena Vasquez, 35, high school English teacher with a voice like aged whiskey and eyes that could unravel you. Married to Mark for 8 years. Their life a tidy craftsman house in Capitol Hill, filled with bookshelves sagging under dog-eared classics and framed photos of vacations that screamed normalcy. Me, Riley Harper, 28, freelance graphic designer scraping by in a cramped Belltown studio. Ink-stained fingers and a heart too reckless for my own good. Both of us American-born. Her with a whisper of Mexican heritage in her dark curls. Me pale as the overcast skies we both called home. But love like ours didn't care about borders or vows. It just burned. That night, as we stepped into their living room, the weight of his words hung like fog. The space was all warm wood floors and overstuffed couches, a fireplace crackling low with the scent of pine logs snapping softly, but it felt like a stage set for tragedy. Elena squeezed my hand once hard, her nails digging in just enough to draw a tiny gasp from me, before letting go to shrug off her coat. "Thanks, Mark," she murmured, her voice steady but laced with that tremor I knew too well, the one that came before tears or fury. He nodded, jaw tight, and vanished into the kitchen, leaving us alone with the tick-tock of the wall clock and the distant hum of the city beyond the windows. I sank onto the couch, heart pounding like bass from a passing car stereo, the leather cool against my jeans. Elena perched beside me, close enough that her knee brushed mine, sending sparks up my spine. "You okay?" she whispered, her breath warm on my ear, carrying the faint vanilla of her shampoo. I nodded, but my throat burned. How had we gotten here? It started 6 months ago, when Mark's job at the tech firm ramped up, late nights, out-of-town conferences, and Elena confessed over wine at my place that their marriage was a husk, all routine and resentment. "I love you," she'd said then, tears streaking her cheeks, her lips crashing into mine like a wave breaking. We'd been careful, or so I thought, texts deleted, alibis airtight. But last week he'd found the locket I'd given her, hidden in her jewelry box, engraved with our initials intertwined. Confrontation. Ultimatum. And now this. His twisted invitation to make ourselves at home, as if testing how far we'd push before the whole facade crumbled. The floorboards creaked. Mark returning with 3 mugs of coffee, steam curling up like unspoken accusations. He handed one to Elena, his fingers lingering on hers a beat too long, then set mine on the coffee table with a thud that echoed in my chest. "Black, right? Riley." His smile didn't reach his eyes, all teeth and tension, like a wolf bearing fangs in the underbrush. I murmured thanks, wrapping my hands around the mug to hide their shake, the ceramic scorching my palms. Elena sipped hers, gaze darting between us, the silence stretching taut as a violin string about to snap. "Tell me something," Mark said finally, settling into the armchair across from us, legs sprawled like he owned every inch of the room, which he did, legally speaking. "How long?" The question landed like a punch, sucking the air out. Elena's mug trembled in her grip, a drop spilling onto her lap, dark as blood against her skirt. She set it down, wiping the stain with a napkin that tore slightly under her frantic rub. "Mark, please," she started, voice cracking like thin ice. But he leaned forward, elbows on knees, staring me down. "No, I want to hear it from her. The lover. How long have you been fucking my wife behind my back? The words sliced through me, raw and venomous, and I felt Elena flinch beside me, her hand finding mine again under the throw pillow, squeezing like a lifeline. My mouth went dry, pulse thundering in my ears, the room spinning with the scent of spilled coffee and the faint, acrid bite of his anger. I could lie bolt for the door, end it all right there. But her touch anchored me, fierce and unyielding. 6 months, I said, voice steady despite the storm inside, meeting his gaze head-on. The fire popped, embers glowing like accusations. Elena's breath escaped in a shuddering exhale, her free hand pressing to her mouth as if to trap a sob. Mark's face didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Hurt? Rage? Resignation? He leaned back, rubbing his jaw, the scrape of stubble audible in the hush. 6 months, he echoed, tasting the words like poison. And you thought you could just, what? Waltz in here like it was nothing. It's not nothing, Elena burst out, surging to her feet, her robe slipping open at the collar to reveal the curve of her collarbone I'd kissed 1,000 times. Mark, I love her. God, I love her so much it hurts. Tears welled, spilling hot down her cheeks, and she paced to the window, arms wrapped around herself against the chill seeping through the glass. Outside, streetlights blurred in the drizzle, a car horn blaring distant and mournful. I stood too, drawn to her like gravity, but Mark's voice stopped me cold. Sit down, Riley. Not a request. I hesitated, then obeyed, the couch springs groaning under me. He rose slowly, towering now, shadows playing across his face from the lamp's glow. You know, I suspected for weeks. The late book club meetings. The way she hums show tunes in the shower now, ones I don't recognize. But seeing you two at the door, hands linked like some goddamn rom-com, it's almost poetic. A bitter laugh escaped him, rough as gravel, and he raked a hand through his hair. So here's the deal. You're staying tonight. Both of you. In our bed if you want. Make yourselves at home. But tomorrow? We talk. Really talk. Or this house, this life burns to the ground. Elena's sob broke free then, raw and wrenching, her body folding as she slid down the wall, knees to chest. I was across the room in a heartbeat, kneeling beside her, arms enveloping her trembling form. Her face buried in my shoulder, wet and warm, her cries muffled against my shirt, the salt of her tears soaking through to my skin. Mark watched, unmoving, his expression fracturing like cracked porcelain. Love warring with betrayal in the lines around his mouth. The rain intensified, drumming a relentless rhythm on the roof, mirroring the chaos in my chest. What kind of man offers this? Mercy? Madness? Or the cruelest trap of all? Hours blurred after that. Mark retreated to his study, door clicking shut with finality, leaving the echo of his footsteps fading down the hall. Elena and I climbed the stairs in silence, her hand limp in mine, each step heavy with the creak of polished oak. The bedroom was a sanctuary turned battlefield. King-sized bed with its crisp white duvet, nightstands cluttered with her lotions and his cufflinks, the faint lavender from her pillow mingling with the stale trace of his cologne. She collapsed onto the mattress, curling fetal while I kicked off my boots, the thud soft against the rug. Sliding in behind her, I pulled her close, spooning her body with mine, my chin nestling into the crook of her neck. I'm sorry, she whispered into the dark, voice hoarse from crying, her fingers interlacing with mine over her belly. Don't, I murmured, lips brushing her earlobe, tasting the salt on her skin. We're in this. Together. But doubt not at me, sharp as the chill seeping from the window cracks. What if tomorrow he demanded she choose? What if she did, and it wasn't me? Her breathing evened out eventually, ragged sighs smoothing to shallow rhythms, but sleep evaded me. I lay there, listening to the house settle, the groan of pipes, the whisper of wind through eaves, heart aching with the weight of her warmth against me, the forbidden thrill twisted now with terror. Dawn crept in slow, painting the walls in muted grays, the first birdsong piercing the quiet like a hesitant note. Elena stirred, turning in my arms, her eyes puffy but clear, searching mine in the half-light. He meant it, you know, she said softly, thumb tracing my jaw, the touch electric even now. About talking. He's not violent. Just broken. I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. The scent of her sleep-warmed skin and faint jasmine, filling my lungs like a drug. We kissed then, slow and desperate, tongues tangling with the urgency of thieves, her hands roaming under my shirt, nails grazing my ribs until I arched into her with a gasp. The bed creaked beneath us, sheets twisting as we lost ourselves, her moan soft against my mouth, my name a prayer on her lips. But as release shuddered through us, bodies slick and spent, the door handle turned. Mark stood there, silhouetted against the hallway light, coffee tray in hand. "Breakfast," he said simply, setting it on the dresser with a clink of porcelain. His eyes met mine over her shoulder. Not hate, but a weary understanding that chilled me deeper than anger ever could. "We eat. Then we figure this out." Elena buried her face in my chest, a muffled whimper escaping, while I held her tighter, the world narrowing to the frantic beat of our hearts, the rain's patter fading to a distant roar. This was no end. It was the beginning of the unraveling. The kitchen table felt like a confessional that morning, sunlight slanting through the blinds in harsh stripes, casting long shadows over the spread of scrambled eggs, toast, and bacon sizzling faintly from the cooling pan. Mark sat at the head, methodically buttering his slice, the scrape of knife on bread unnaturally loud in the hush. Elena hovered by the counter, pouring orange juice with hands that trembled, splashes dotting the wood like tears. I perched on the edge of my chair, feet planted firm on the cool tile, the hem of my borrowed robe, hers soft flannel with faded florals, brushing my calves. The air hummed with the drip of the faucet, a metronome to our unspoken dread, and the rich, greasy aroma clashing with the knot in my stomach. "Eat," Mark prompted, not looking up, forking eggs into his mouth with mechanical precision. Elena slid a plate in front of me, her fingers brushing mine. A fleeting spark, before she took the seat beside, close enough our thighs touched under the table. I picked at the food, the fork tine scraping ceramic, each bite ash on my tongue. How do you dine with the man whose bed you've just defiled? His bed. Our bed now in this bizarre truce. He set his fork down, the clink echoing like a gavel. "I loved you, Elena. Still do in some fucked up way." His voice was low, gravelly from lack of sleep, eyes fixed on his plate. She froze, juice glass halfway to her lips, a drop beating on the rim. "But this." He gestured vaguely between us, the motion slicing the air. "It's killing me. Watching you light up for her like you haven't for years." A muscle ticked in his jaw, and he rubbed his temple, the faint scent of his soap wafting across. Clean, masculine, a reminder of the life she'd built before me. Elena's chair scraped back slightly as she leaned toward him, desperation etching lines on her face. "Mark, I never meant." "Save it." He held up a hand, palm out, weary. "I know. The spark died somewhere between the mortgage and the miscarriages. But Riley." His gaze shifted to me, piercing, appraising. "You're the match that lit it back up. Question is, what now? Divorce papers? Therapy? Or do I just step aside?" The words hung heavy, laced with a bitterness that twisted like smoke from the forgotten bacon. I couldn't breathe, chest tight as if vines wrapped around my ribs, the tang of citrus from the juice turning sour in my nose. Elena's hand found my knee under the table, squeezing hard, her nails a crescent pain that grounded me. "We don't have to decide today," she said, voice threading steel through the plea. "Please, give us time." Mark barked a laugh, short and hollow, pushing back from the table. "Time. That's what got us here." He stood, chair legs whining against the floor, and paced to the window, staring out at the neighbor's overgrown hedge dripping with rain. "Fine. Stay as long as you need. But I'm out for the weekend, golf with the guys in Spokane. Make yourselves whatever." The echo of his earlier words now laced with defeat. He grabbed his keys from the hook, the jangle sharp, and paused at the door back to us. "Just remember, Elena, this house has walls. Thin ones." The door slammed, engine rumbling to life in the driveway, tires crunching gravel as he peeled away. Silence crashed in, broken only by Elena's ragged inhale, her head dropping to her hands on the table, shoulders shaking. I rounded the table in 2 strides, pulling her into my lap, arms banding around her as sobs racked her frame. "Shua," I whispered, rocking us gently, my cheek against her hair. Inhaling the familiar mix of shampoo and salt, the kitchen clock ticked on, indifferent, while outside the rain eased to a drizzle, sunlight fracturing through clouds in tentative rays. We spent the day in limbo, tangled in sheets that still carried his scent, her body molding to mine with a hunger born of fear. Whispers turned to cries, skin sliding slick under exploring hands, the headboard thumping rhythmically against the wall. A defiant symphony. But as evening fell, shadows lengthening across the rumpled bed, doubt crept in like fog off the sound. "What if he doesn't come back?" she murmured, tracing patterns on my stomach with a fingertip, voice small in the gloaming. "Then we build something new," I replied, capturing her hand, kissing the knuckles one by one, tasting the faint ink from my earlier sketch. But my heart stuttered. New for us meant ruins for him, and the guilt gnawed sharp as shattered glass underfoot. Night deepened, city lights twinkling beyond the curtains like distant stars, and we lay awake, her head on my chest, listening to the house breathe. A creak from downstairs, settling beams or something more. Paranoia prickled my skin, but her steady heartbeat lulled me, dreams weaving through the dark. Vows exchanged in hidden glens, rings without barbs, a life unshadowed. Yet morning brought reality's slap. Mark's note on the counter scrawled in block letters. "Leftovers in fridge. Lock up if you go. M." Elena's face crumpled as she read it, crumpling the paper in her fist. "He's really doing this," she breathed, voice laced with awe and ache. I pulled her close, the cool marble counter pressing into my back, our foreheads touching. "Then let's live it," I said, fierce, tasting the lie of certainty on my tongue. We cooked then. Pasta bubbling on the stove, garlic sizzling in olive oil, the domesticity of fragile armor. Laughter bubbled up between us, tentative at first, her recounting a student's absurd essay on Romeo and Juliet, me mimicking the principal's nasally drone. For hours the house felt like ours, filled with clinking glasses and stolen kisses over the sink, steam curling around us like lovers' breath. But as plates cleared, the front door buzzed. An unexpected delivery, a bouquet of lilies wrapped in crackling cellophane, card reading. "For the woman who makes my heart ache. Come home when you're ready. Love, Mark." Elena's fingers trembled unfolding it, color draining from her cheeks, the bloom's cloying sweetness invading the kitchen like an unwelcome guest. She sank to the floor, lilies clutched to her chest, petals bruising under her grip. "Riley, I can't," she choked, tears carving paths down her face. The words hit like a freight train, derailing everything. "Can't what?" I whispered, kneeling beside her, but I knew, felt it in the way her body tensed away from mine. "Choose." "Not yet." Her eyes, red-rimmed, pleaded. "He's part of me. The good parts, too." Rage surged, hot and blinding, but I swallowed it, nodding jerkily. "Then go." The lie tasted like bile, but I stood, helping her to her feet, brushing a petal from her hair with fingers that ached to hold. She left that night, lilies in arms, her goodbye kiss a ghost on my lips, soft, lingering, laced with rain scent from the porch light's glow. The door shut, lock clicking final, and I slid down it, knees to chest, the house echoing empty around me. Days blurred into a haze of sketches unfinished. Coffee gone cold on my drafting table back in Belltown. Elena's text came sporadic. "Miss you. At school. Thinking of you." Heart emojis, vague plans for coffee that dissolved into excuses. Mark's social media stayed silent. No rants, no blocks, just a photo of their dog at the park, captioned "Old Friends." The knife twist deeper each scroll, thumb hovering over delete, but I couldn't. Love like ours was a scar not so easily erased. 2 weeks in, desperation clawed. I showed up at the school, rain-soaked and wild-eyed, waiting by her classroom as the bell rang. Kids streamed out, backpacks thumping, laughter echoing down halls smelling of chalk and teenage sweat. She emerged, stack of papers under arm, freezing at the sight of me. "Riley? What?" "Talk to me," I begged, voice cracking, pulling her into an empty stairwell, the fluorescent buzz overhead harsh on her tired face. "Really talk. Or this ends." Her lips parted, a sigh escaping like wind through pines, and she nodded, papers scattering as she cupped my face. I told him everything. About us. The future I see with you. Tears welled, spilling hot. He wants to try counseling. For all three of us if you'll come. Shock rooted me, the concrete steps cold under my boots. All three. The words absurd, yet a spark ignited. Not Polly, not quite, but a bridge over the chasm. If it saves us, she whispered, leaning in, forehead to mine, breaths mingling in the dim light. Saves you and me. I pulled back, searching her eyes. Love there, fierce and flawed. The stairwell door banged open above, footsteps descending, and we parted, hands linking brief. Tuesday. His office downtown. A promise, tentative as the patter of rain on the window. Tuesday came, the therapist's waiting room, all beige walls and stale magazines, the scent of chamomile tea cloying. Mark arrived first, suit crisp, nodding curtly as I entered, Elena trailing behind, her hand brushing my back, a secret anchor. We sat in a circle, Dr. Ellis's voice a calm drone. Boundaries. Honesty. What does home mean to each of you? Words tumbled then. Mark's quiet admissions of neglect, Elena's guilt woven with passion, my raw confessions of fear and fire. Laughter broke through once, absurd, when Mark admitted peeking at my portfolio online. You're talented. That logo for the coffee shop? Killer. Tension eased inch by inch, the room warming like sun on frost. Sessions stacked, weeks of unraveling, rebuilding. Mark and Elena's marriage shifted, open now in ways unspoken, but it was us, her and me, who bloomed in the cracks. Stolen nights in my studio, her grading papers cross-legged on my bed, the scratch of her pen mingling with my stylus whir. Mornings tangled, coffee brewing as we planned escapes. Drives to the Olympics, hikes where pines whispered secrets. One evening, 6 months on, Mark invited us to dinner. Not a test, but a truce. The table groaned under roast chicken, rosemary sharp in the air, wine poured with steady hands. To homes, he toasted, glass raised, eyes clear. Wherever we make them. Elena's smile lit the room, her foot nudging mine under the table, a silent vow. Later, as stars pricked the velvet sky, she and I slipped to the porch swing, creaking gently, her head on my shoulder. I choose us, she murmured, lips brushing my temple. Always. The night air cool, fireflies dancing lazy, and for the first time home felt vast. Not a house but a horizon. But pieces fragile, and cracks spiderwebbed soon after. Elena's pregnancy announcement hit like thunder marks. From a reconciliatory night they'd shared in therapy's shadow. Joy warred with jealousy in my chest, a storm brewing as her belly swelled. Ultrasound showing tiny kicks on screens that hummed softly. It's not instead of you, she assured. Hand on my cheek in the OB's waiting room, the sterile scent of antiseptic clinging. It's more. Mark softened further, inviting me to the nursery paint sessions. Soft blues rolled on walls, his laughter booming as we splattered each other, the acrid tang of primer fading to baby powder dreams. Yet doubt festered. Nights alone in my studio, sketches of her silhouette turning abstract, strokes furious. The birth came fierce, labor's cries echoing hospital halls, me pacing outside delivery, Mark's hand gripping mine through the door glass, slick with sweat. She's strong, he said, voice thick. Hours later they placed the baby in my arms, Isabella, tiny fists waving, her wail piercing like a siren's call. Elena, exhausted and radiant, watched us, tears tracking. Our family, she whispered. Life reshaped then, a mosaic of feedings at dawn, the gurgle of bottles warming, Isabella's coos filling the house. I moved in, my drafting table squeezed into the spare room, nights blurring into days of shared chaos. Mark and Elena's bond steadied, companionate now while ours burned electric. Kisses stolen in laundry folds, her nursing breast against my side as we read to the baby. Climax brewed on Isabella's first birthday. Balloons bobbing in the backyard under Seattle's rare blue sky. Barbecue smoke curling lazy. Guests milled, friends oblivious. But tension simmered when Mark pulled me aside by the fence. beer in hand, condensation dripping cold. She's leaving me, he said flatly, eyes on Elena chasing Isabella through grass, laughter ringing. For good. With you. Shock numbed me, bottle slipping in my grip. What? She said it last night. Once the divorce final. Custody shared, but her life. Yours. His voice cracked, fist clenching the bottle neck, white-knuckled. I get it. Hell, I'm glad she's happy. But it hurts, Riley. Like fire. Guilt crashed, wave after wave, and I clapped his shoulder, the gesture awkward. You're a good man, Mark. We'll make it work for her. For Izzy. He nodded, swallowing hard, and we rejoined the party. Toasts rising amid cake smears and wrapping paper crinkle. That night, as guests faded, Elena and I bathed Isabella, bubbles foaming, her giggles splashing water arcs. Bedtime story read in tandem, voices weaving, and as the baby drifted, Elena turned to me, eyes fierce. Issues. Forever. We made love slow then, Isabella's monitor glowing soft, bodies rediscovering in the quiet, her sighs breathy against my neck, my fingers mapping curves grown fuller with motherhood. Dawn found us entwined, sunlight spilling gold. The future a canvas blank and begging color. Years folded forward. Isabella's first steps tottering across the living room rug, her chubby hands pulling us down to play. School drop-offs, my sketches framing Elena's classroom walls. Mark's new apartment nearby, weekends with him filled with park picnics, his easy grin evidence of healing. Our wedding came quiet, courthouse steps under autumn leaves crunching red. Rings simple silver, vows whispered with rain-kissed cheeks. In shadows and light, I promised, her yes a sob of joy. Now on porch swings at dusk, Isabella. 8 and fierce, doodles beside us, crayons scraping paper, her laughter the soundtrack to our peace. Home isn't walls or vows unbroken. It's the choice daily to hold through storms. And in Elena's hand laced with mine, the world feels vast, electric, whole. The swing creaked under our weight, a familiar lullaby as the sun dipped low, painting the sky in strokes of orange and bruised purple over the sound. Isabella's crayon snapped mid-stroke, the waxy crack pulling a dramatic huff from her lips. Mommy, fix it, she demanded, thrusting the broken blue at Elena, who chuckled low, that throaty sound that still sent shivers racing down my spine. Elena, my wife now 2 years into a marriage that felt like a revelation, took the crayon gently, her fingers brushing Isabella's tiny ones, the touch maternal and sure. All better, bug, she murmured, taping it with a scrap from her planner, the adhesive whisper soft in the evening hush. I watched them, heart swelling with that ache-sweet mix, the air thick with the salty tang of low tide and grilled corn from the neighbor's barbecue drifting on the breeze. 7 years since that fraught breakfast, and here we were. A family forged in fire, mended with time's patient hands. Mark pulled up then, his truck rumbling to a stop in the drive, gravel crunching under tires worn from hauling Isabella's soccer gear. He unfolded from the cab, tall frame leaner now, silver threading his temples like wisdom's quiet claim. Hey team, he called, scooping Izzy into a bear hug that lifted her squealing, her legs kicking air. Ready for ice cream? Daddy. Yes. She wriggled free, darting to the porch but paused to hug my legs, her sticky cheek pressing my jeans. Love you, Mama Riley. The title still floored me, earned through bedtime stories and scraped knees kissed better. And I ruffled her curls, inhaling the bubblegum scent clinging to her hair. Mark met my eyes over her head. A nod passing between us, cordial and deep, the scars of old wounds faint now like faded tattoos. Elena rose, stretching with a yawn that bared the curve of her neck, and I couldn't resist, leaned in to press a kiss there, lingering just enough to feel her pulse quicken. Be good, she teased Mark as he herded Izzy toward the truck, her voice light but edged with the old protectiveness. He grinned, buckling the girl in with practiced ease. Always am. Back by 8. The engine growled to life, taillights fading down the hill, leaving the 302 of us in the deepening twilight. She turned to me then, arms sliding around my waist, chin tilting up for the kiss that had become our ritual, slow, savoring, the world narrowing to the soft part of her lips and the faint mint on her tongue. Missed you today, she breathed against my mouth, Hands slipping under my shirt to trace the dip of my spine, nails grazing just enough to spark heat low in my belly. School had been a whirlwind for her. Lesson plans on Whitman bleeding into parent-teacher conferences, and I'd buried myself in a client brief, pixels blurring on my screen till my eyes burned. "Missed you more," I countered, nipping her lower lip, eliciting a gasp that curled my toes. We swayed there, bodies fitting like puzzle pieces worn smooth, the swing forgotten until a gull cried overhead, sharp and lonely. Inside, the house welcomed us with its hush. Kitchen lights low, counters wiped clean of dinner's chaos, the faint citrus of Elena's cleaner lingering. She poured wine, Cabernet deep as garnet, glasses clinking with a toast unspoken, and we migrated to the couch, legs tangled, her head on my thigh as I carded fingers through her hair, the strands silk soft. "Tell me about your day," she prompted, sipping slow, the liquid staining her lips red. I recounted the absurd client notes. "Make it poppier but not too poppy," and she laughed, belly shaking against mine, the sound bubbling free like champagne. But as stories waned, her gaze grew distant, thumb circling the stem of her glass in restless loops. "What's eating you?" I asked, setting my wine aside, shifting to face her fully. She sighed, that deep exhale carrying weight, and sat up, knees drawn to chest. "Mark mentioned something today. When he dropped Izzy off early for her nap." The name hung, not bitter anymore, but a thread in our tapestry. "He's seeing someone." "Seriously?" "A nurse from the hospital. Met her volunteering at that clinic." Surprise flickered, then warmth. Genuine, untainted. "That's good. He deserves it." Mark's dates had been casual whispers before, baristas and colleagues flickering out, but this sounded rooted. Elena nodded, but her eyes shimmered unshed. "Yeah, it is. Just stirs things up. Reminds me how far we've come. How close we came to losing it all." Her hand found mine, lacing fingers, the callus on her thumb from grating pens rough against my skin. Memories flooded unbidden. That first night, his "make yourselves at home," echoing like a curse. The therapy circle, voices raw with truths peeled bare. Isabella's cry fresh from the womb, binding us in unexpected grace. "We didn't lose," I said firmly, pulling her close, her cheek nestling my collarbone. "We won. Messy but real." She tilted her head, eyes locking mine. Hazel depths swirling with love, gratitude, a hint of that old fire. "God, I love you, Riley." The words simple, profound, and she kissed me then, wine-tart and urgent. Hands roaming to tug at my shirt buttons, popping one free with a soft ping. Heat built slow, deliberate, the couch springs protesting as I tugged her astride me, her thighs bracketing mine, skirt hiking up to reveal lace-edged skin. Moans mingled with the tick of the mantel clock, her hips grinding in rhythm to my gasps, fingers delving, discovering wet, wanting home. After, sated and sticky, we lay tangled, breath sinking to the rise-fall of chests, her tracing lazy hearts on my sternum. "Promise me," she whispered into the crook of my neck, voice husky. "No matter what, us against the world." "Always," I vowed, sealing it with a kiss to her temple, the salt of her skin on my lips. The front door banged open then, Isabella's giggles preceding her, Mark's deeper chuckle trailing. "Mommy! Mama!" Daddy got sprinkles everywhere. Chaos erupted, joyful. Sticky hugs, bedtime battles over toothbrushing. Stories spun with exaggerated voices till eyelids drooped. Mark lingered in the doorway after, Izzy tucked in, his silhouette framed by hall light. "Night, ladies. She's a handful. You're mini-me, Elena." We shared a smile, the ease hard one. "Thanks for the ice cream run," I said, and he waved it off, stepping into the night with a quiet anytime. Alone again, Elena and I collapsed into bed, the sheets cool against fevered skin, her body curling into mine spoon-like, perfect fit. Sleep claimed her quick, breaths even, but I lingered awake, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy whirl, shadows dancing like ghosts of what was. Gratitude swelled, for the lover who'd become wife, the husband who'd become ally, the child who'd mended fractures. Life's plot twisted, but ours arced toward light, meaningful in its scars. Morning broke crisp, coffee perking with gurgles, Elena humming at the stove. pancakes flipping golden, syrup sweet steam rising. Isabella chattered about school art, her drawing of our family. 3 stick figures plus a 4th for Mark, hands linked in a chain. See? All together. Pride beamed from her, and Elena knelt, hugging fierce. Always, baby. As we ate, forks scraping plates, sunlight slanting warm, I caught Elena's eye across the table. A wink, a promise. The world outside bustled. Cars humming to work, ferries horn blaring distant. But here in this kitchen reborn from ashes, home pulsed alive. Lesbian love entwined with forgiveness, a tapestry rich, resilient, redeemed. Isabella's school play loomed like a beacon that spring. Her role as the wise tree, in a eco-fable demanding rehearsals that turned our living room into a leafy stage. Twigs taped to a headband, she recited lines with theatrical flair, voice piping. Roots deep, branches high, grow, world grow. Elena clapped from the armchair, eyes misty while I manned the wind machine. A cardboard fan whirring futile gusts that sent her leaves fluttering. Laughter filled the space, bouncing off walls painted sage from last summer's refresh. The scent of Elena's herbal tea steeping on the side table mingling with the earthy prop moss. Break a leg, kiddo, I said, scooping her up post-rehearsal, spinning till squeals erupted, her small body warm and wriggly against mine. Elena watched, leaning in the doorway, arms crossed casual but smile soft, the kind that crinkled her eyes and tugged my heartstrings. 7 years in and she still undid me, casual in yoga pants and a faded Smith college tee, hair piled messy, a smudge of marker on her cheek from helping Izzy with props. You're spoiling her, she accused lightly but joined the hug, our trio collapsing in a giggling heap on the rug, limbs entangled. Mark arrived mid-chaos, bearing pizza boxes steaming with cheese pull glory, his knock a friendly rap. Rehearsal fuel, he announced, setting them on the coffee table, the cardboard thud muffled by coasters. Izzy bolted up. Uncle Mark. Her term now, affectionate distance. And he knelt, letting her smear sauce on his shirt without protest. Looking fierce, tree lady. We ate cross-legged, boxes open like treasure, strings of mozzarella snapping with each bite, conversations overlapping. Elena quizzing him on his nurse girlfriend's latest art tale, me sharing a botched client mock-up that had us all howling. He'd moved on solid, Lydia, the nurse with her quick wit and tattooed wrists, fitting into our orbit like a missing cog. Dinners at their place now routine, her lasagna layered with basil punch, toast to blended weirdness clinking glasses. But tonight as crusts piled and Izzy yawned wide, Mark's gaze lingered on Elena a beat too long, something unspoken flickering. You okay? I asked low while she cleared plates, water running hot in the sink. Yeah, just nostalgic. This house us. She dried her hands on a towel, the fabric whisper soft, and leaned into me, hip bumping mine. Mark caught it, smiling faint. Not jealous but wistful, the ghost of old loves. He left soon after. Izzy waving from the window, truck lights sweeping the drive away. Bedtime dragged sweet. Baths with rubber ducks quacking. Stories of enchanted forests where trees whispered secrets. Elena's voice weaving magic till Isabella's lashes fluttered shut. In our room door clicked soft, Elena peeled off her shirt slow, the lamplight gilding her skin. Stretch marks silver from motherhood, breasts full and familiar. I traced them with fingertips, reverent, her shiver a sigh against my palm. Beautiful, I breathed, pulling her down, mouths meeting in unhurried exploration, tongues lazy, hands mapping routes traveled 1,000 times. She arched under me, gasp hitching as I kissed down her sternum, the salt of her skin blooming on my tongue, sheets tangling cool around ankles. Riley, she moaned, fingers threading my hair, tugging just enough sting. Release built tidal waves cresting in tandem. Her cries muffled into pillows, my name a chant on her lips. Afterglow wrapped us, sweaty and spent, breath sinking to the ceiling fan's hum. Her head pillowed on my chest, heartbeat thumping steady. Tell me a secret, she murmured, tracing my tattoo, the intertwined initials from our early days faded but fierce. I smiled into her hair, vanilla scent curling. I dream of us old, gray hair porch rockers still stealing kisses. She laughed soft, vibrating through me. Promise. Cross my heart. Sleep stole us then, dreams gentle. Play night dawn drizzly. Auditorium buzzing with parents in folding chairs. The air thick with popcorn butter and excited whispers. Isabella shone center stage. Bark-painted tunic rustling as she boomed her lines. The spotlight haloing her curls. Elena gripped my hand tight. Nails crescent in my palm. Tears pricking as applause thundered at curtain. Backstage, hugs crushed her. I'm so proud, whispered fierce into Izzy's ear. Mark appearing with flowers, daisies bright. His arm around Lydia, her smile wide. Celebration spilled to our house. Cake layered chocolate. Candles flickering 9 flames. Happy birthday sung off-key. Lydia fit seamless, passing plates with easy grace, her laugh blending with ours. But as night waned, guests gone, cleanup loomed. Wrapping paper crinkling underfoot. Isabella crashed early, monitor beeping soft snores. Elena and I swayed in the kitchen, slow dancing to phantom music, her cheek on my shoulder, the fridge hum our rhythm. Perfect night, she sighed, breath warm. Then hesitant. Mark pulled me aside. Lydia's pregnant. Shock stilled me, her words landing soft but seismic. What? 3 months. Thrilled. Scared. She pulled back, eyes searching mine, vulnerable, bracing. Jealousy flickered brief, then joy for him, for the circle completing. That's amazing, I said, true, hugging her close. He's gonna be a great dad again. She nodded, relief flooding her face, and kissed me, deep gratitude pouring. To new beginnings. We toasted later, wine glasses chiming, the house settling around us like a sigh. Months rolled, Isabella's chatter filling summers. Beach days at Alki, sand gritty between toes, waves lapping cold. Her building castles that tides claimed laughing. Elena's promotion came. Head of department, office with a view of the market's Ferris wheel spinning lazy. I landed a book cover gig, illustrations blooming vibrant, our walls gallery proud. Mark's son arrived autumnal. Little Theo, red-faced and wailing. Lydia beaming exhausted in the hospital bed, her hand in his. We visited, balloons bobbing, Izzy cooing over the bundle. My brother-cousin. Elena held him gentle, tears silent, passing to me. His weight tiny, trusting, a new thread weaving. Thanksgiving gathered us all. Tables groaning, turkey and pie, Lydia's family adding voices. Chaos harmonious. Toasts flowed to family found and forged, glasses clinking warm. Later, as snow dusted rare, Elena and I walked the block, arms linked, breath fogging air crisp. This life, she said, squeezing. Ours. Under street lamps glowing amber, I kissed her snowflake-laced lashes. Forever's just starting. Winter wrapped Seattle in its damp embrace. Holidays twinkling with lights strung across eaves. The air sharp with pine and chimney smoke. Isabella's excitement peaked. Letters to Santa scrawled earnest. Cookies baked lopsided for the chimney visitor. Elena dove into traditions. Tree trimming parties with Mark and Lydia. Ornaments clinking as stories spilled. Who gave what? Memories layered like tinsel. I strung popcorn garlands, kernels popping sharp in the microwave, her laughter warm as she draped them. Theo gurgling in a bouncer nearby, his tiny fists waving like conductors. One eve, snow flurried soft, rare magic, and we bundled out, mittens linked, crunching virgin white under boots. Izzy cartwheeled, squealing, cheeks rosy, while Elena and I lagged, breaths pluming white. Remember our first snow? She asked, voice muffled by scarf, eyes sparkling. I did, 2 years in, pre-Isabella. A blizzard trapping us in my old studio, cocoa steaming, bodies warming under blankets threadbare. How could I forget? I teased, pulling her close, noses bumping cold. Mark's call came mid-January, voice tight over the line. Lydia's water broke early. NICU. Touch and go. Elena's face drained, phone slipping as she gripped the counter, knuckles white. We raced to the hospital, halls echoing sterile beeps, the scent of antiseptic cloying. Lydia lay pale in the bed, for dripping steady. Mark pacing like a caged wolf, his hand engulfing hers. Theo arrived blue-tinged, tiny, whisked to incubators humming. Preemie. Doctors murmured, monitors beeping frantic rhythms. We waited in shifts. Elena reading to Lydia from dog-eared paperbacks, voice steadying her. Me fetching coffees bitter and hot, Mark's grip crushing on the foam cup. Isabella drew cards, crayon rainbows for brave baby Theo, slid under the door. Days blurred. Vigils in vinyl chairs creaking, the whoosh of vents, Elena's hand in mine through it all, anchor and storm. Miracle struck week 2. Theo breathing solo, color pinking cheeks, discharged to home with beeps fading. Relief crashed. Hugs in parking lot. Rain slicking windshields, Mark's thank you rough, eyes wet. Lydia's recovery slow but our help seamless. Dinners delivered bubbling. Playdates where Izzy mothered her doll fierce. Spring thaw, cherry blossoms pink petting the parks. Isabella's soccer starting. Cleats muddy, cheers rising from sidelines. Elena coached assistant, whistle shrill. Her pride beaming as Izzy scored, netting rippling. I photographed, shutter clicking rapid, capturing grins mud-smeared. Date night snuck mid-season. Babysitter settled, we escaped to a waterfront bistro. Candles flickering on linen, seafood steaming garlicky. To us, Elena toasted, fork twirling pasta. Eyes locking mine over rim. Talk flowed easy dreams of travel, Italy's hills or Japan's blooms, but deepened. Do you ever regret? She asked, soft, vulnerability cracking voice. Never. I covered her hand, thumb stroking rings band. Every scar's a story. Ours. She smiled, leaning for kiss, salt-tanged, waiter discreetly passing. Home late, kids asleep, we slipped to bed, undressing slow. Her blouse buttons popping soft, my jeans pooling floor. Love making tender, exploratory. Lips on scars, fingers delving gentle. Moans hushed to whispers, climax a shared sigh rippling. Summer scorched mild, road trip plotted. Oregon coast, dunes golden, waves crashing foam white. Packed the van, snacks crunching, playlists shuffling indie folk. Mark and Lydia joined midway. Tents popping canvas sharp. Campfires crackling logs to embers. Night starry, Isabella roasting marshmallows gooey. Theo babbling in lap packs, stories circling flames. Ghosts of beaches past, laughs echoing surf. One dawn, fog-shrouded, Elena and I walked tide pools. Bare feet squelching sand wet. Anemones waving frond-like. Marry me again? She joked, pebbles skipping water. Every day, I replied, spinning her laughing, salt spray misting faces. Fall schooled in. Isabella's essays pouring, Elena grading late, red pen scratching. My exhibit opened, gallery walls hung with our story abstracted, colors bold. Opening night buzzed. Wine tart, murmurs approving, Elena's arm looped mine, pride swelling. Mark bought a piece. For the nursery. Lydia nodding beside. Thanksgiving redux. Tables extended, kin multiplied, turkey carving knife gliding. Grace said hands clasp circle. Pies cooled windowsills, cinnamon wafting. Post-feast, walks digesting, leaves crunching copper. Conversations meandering like creeks. Winter circled back, holidays evolved. Theo's first steps toddling. Izzy's ballet recital tutu twirling. Elena's surprise waited Christmas morn. A locket twin to the old one, initials etched anew slipped round my neck warm. Forever starts now, she whispered, tears glistening. New Year's Eve fireworks boomed harbor, we kissed under drizzle, resolutions unspoken. Hold tight, love fierce. Life's reel spun, dramatic arcs softened to steady glow. Emotional peaks, valleys filled with meaning's quiet depth. Resolutions lingered into the new year. Gym memberships dusted off. Runs pounding pavement slick with melt. Isabella joined, pigtails bouncing, her breaths puffing determined. Elena cheered sidelines, thermos steaming, her presence fuel. Mark texted race results. Proud of my girls. Thumbs up emoji simple. Valentine's snuck sweet. Elena's note in my lunch. My heart's thief. Scrawled on napkin, coffee ringed. Reciprocated with dinner home cooked. Candles guttering wax. Pasta al dente. Wine decanting velvet. Isabella chaperoned. Heart doilies fluttering. Theo gnawing teether rubbery. Spring burst. Isabella's science fair, volcano erupting foam fizzy. Cheers erupting parental. Elena's speech at assembly. On resilience, voice ringing auditorium. Drew tears sniffled. My freelance boom, deadlines blurring nights, Elena's foot rubs needing knots. Summer camp for Izzy. Bus rumbling away, waves goodbye, tear-brined. Empty nest preview. Elena and I rediscovered. Hikes misty, trails crunching, needle soft, picnics cheese sharp. Nights lazy, movies flickering blue. Popcorn kernels popping microwave hot. Her head lap pillow. Mark's proposal to Lydia. Ring sparkling simple, news over brunch, mimosas bubbly. About time. Elena teased, hugging tight, joy genuine. Wedding plan casual. Beach barefoot, vows sea salted. Izzy's return sunbrown, tails tumbling rapid. Cabin ghost stories, canoe tips salty. Family barbecue celebrated. Ribs smoky, coleslaw crisp. Laughter toasting, marshmallows charred. Fall school deeper. Isabella's first crush. Boy with braces shy, Elena's advice gentle. Heart's your own. I listened, door cracked, pride aching. Mark mentored soccer, cone slaloming, his shouts encouraging. Halloween haunted. Costume stitched. Izzy witch cackling, Theo pumpkin round. Trick or treat bags rustling, candy crinkle. Houses aglow, jack-o'-lantern grins. Thanksgiving swelled. Lydia's bump rounding, tables groaning extended. Carves knife sharp. Stories circling, pie pumpkin spiced. Winter wonder. Snowmen sculpted lopsided. Carrots crunching noses. Elena's cold nipped. Soup simmering, herb rich, my arms cocooning. Spring renewal. Isabella's braces gleamed. Smiles tentative. Elena's sabbatical plotted. Writing retreat, pages turning fresh. Summer splashed. Pool days, cannonballs splashing, sunscreen coconutty. Mark's bachelor bash low-key, beers foaming, toast slurring fond. Wedding day dawned golden. Beach sands warm, waves lapping rhythmic. Lydia ethereal white. Mark tux rumpled charming. Vows exchanged, sunset gilded. Rings sliding gold.
Réception danse barfoot, fiddle winning joyful, caketière vanilla sweet.
Izzy flowered teen ward. Attitude sassing but hugs lingering. Elena navigated patient. Storms pass. Wisdom soft. My solo show toured, cities blurring, Elena tagging one. Hand-holding, galleries hushed. Star, she whispered, hotel beds crisp. Fall rooted. Isabella's homecoming dance. Dress swirling blue. Nerves jangling. Elena curled hair, ringlet soft. Gorgeous. Winter wrapped. Holidays hybrid. Hanukkah candles flickering, Lydia's kin. Tree twinkling hours. Gifts unwrapped, paper ripping, joy multiplying. New Year toasted. Fireworks popping sky. Resolutions whispered, bed tangled. Grow together. Life's drama mellowed. Emotional swells to steady tides. Meaningful in moments stacked. A glance held. A hand clasped. Love's quiet roar. Years layered like sedimentary rock. Time's patient press shaping us smoother. Isabella hit 13, growth spurts leggy, voice cracking pitches wild. Bedroom posters plastered, band idols. Door slams, punctuation, teen rebellion. Elena mediated masterfully. Listen then speak. Her calm ballast. I backed. Sketches capturing her eye rolls exaggerated. Humor diffusing. Mark's family expanded. Theo walking wobbly. Sister announced ultrasound wand. Lydia's glow maternal. Brunches plotting, names floral. Spring project. Community garden. Plots tilled soil rich, seedlings poking green. Izzy volunteered. Hands dirt caked. Elena weeding beside. Conversations rooted deep. Summer road tripped east. Rockies jagged, campfires smoke-laced, stars wheeling vast. Mark's clan caravan tandem, tents zipping night, Ismara's gooey sticky. Fall ferried Isabella to high school. Halls echoing, locker slams, nerves knotted stomach. Elena's pep talk car ride. Wings ready. My pride swelled assemblies, her debate team podium poised. Winter solstice. Light strung evergreens, solstice circle drums thumping primal.
Theo bên Z spotlight cymbal, lâu thơ ê coi.
Valentine's evolved. Cards handmade, Izzy's scrawl. Dinner takeout candlelit. Elena's gift, journal leatherbound. pages for dreams inked. Spring break volunteer. Habitat builds hammer nail sharp, sweat beating brows. Family crude blisters bonding homes rising frame by frame. Summer internship for me. Animation studio screens glowing code. Elena visiting lunch bento boxed. Izzy's first heartbreak. Boy ghosting texts unread. Tears soaking pillows Elena rocking. Pain carves space for better. I baked cookies chocolate chunked oven warm. Fall foliage. Leaf peeping drives colors flaming cider steaming mugs. Thanksgiving fusion. Tamales Lydia's heritage, turkey traditional, tables groaning multicultural. Winter wonderland. Ski trip slopes whooshing, hot cocoa marshmallows bobbing. New Year yoga. Mets unrolling dawn poses stretching intentions breathed. Life's kinks smoothed, dramas domestic to depths profound, emotions ebbing to fulfillment's flow. Adolescence amplified. Isabella's driver's ed, wheels gripping wheel white-knuckled, Elena shotgun coaching calm. First solo drive, grocery run eggs unbroken, cheers erupted driveway. Mark's daughter arrived, Mia muling pink, Lydia nursing serene. Nursery visits coup-filled, Izzy anti-proud braiding doll hair practice. Spring musical. Izzy lead stage lights hot voice belting clear. Elena tears proud Mark whistling sharp. Summer Europe. Backpacks light trains clacking rails Paris croissants flaky, Rome fountains splashing. Elena and I Rome nights gelato dripping Colosseum shadows ancient. Fall college apps. Essays pouring soul-bared, Elena editing redline gentle. Winter holidays. Snowshoe treks crunching powder, mulled wine spiced. Valentine's getaway. Cabin secluded fire crackling logs, snow blanketing hush. Love-making firelit, bodies glowing ember warm sighs snow muffled. Spring acceptance. UW letter crisp, hugs crushing tear salted. Summer pre-college. Job barista steaming, tips jingling independence budding. Izzy's departure dorm drop, bed lofted, tears hallway echoed. Empty nest true. Elena and I dinners candlelit, travels spontaneous, kayaks paddling sound glassy. Mark's promotion. VP plaque gleaming celebration steaks seared. Fall nested. Holidays quieter but calls frequent. Izzy's stories tumbling. Winter renewal. Couples retreat massages oiled talks deepening bonds. Life peaked plateau. Climaxes crested to calm vistas, meaningful and milestones marked. Empty arms full memories love's enduring flame. College years flew. Isabella's visits home laundry laden, tales frat parties wild majors switched art bound. Elena's empty nest book published. Memoir veiled our saga, pages turning emotional. Launch party wine flowing toasts clinking to truths told. Mark's empty nest echoed Theo schoolbound Mia toddling. Family reunions beaches bonfire lit. Waves crashing narrative. Summer sabbatical Elena. Writer's residency woods whispering, letters inked longing. I visited cabin creaking reunions fervent bed squeaking. Fall wedding. Isabella's engagement ring sparkling boyfriend, now fiancé kind-eyed. Planning frenzy invitations embossed. Winter holidays. Blended bigger. Trees doubled ornaments clashing joyful. Valentine's vow renewal. Beach sunset vows refreshed, sands shifting soft. Spring ceremony. Izzy radiant gown laced aisle petals strewn. Elena dabbing eyes Mark walking arm-linked proud. Summer honeymoon send-off. Airport hugs lingering plane vanishing sky. Fall grandbaby announced. Izzy's ultrasound blob wave joy rippling. Winter nest refeathered. Nursery painting blues soft, onesies folding tiny. Life's art crested dramas distilled to essence pure. Emotions etched eternal ending meaningful. Cycles circling love, legacies laced forever.